Hi everyone, my name is Hayden Alexander Butcher. Welcome back to Hang and Vibe. We are officially fully into winter now. I have a couple of artists that I want to, a few artists that I want to talk about this week. I'm going to have Mike join me later in the episode to talk about them, and also to talk about how our New Year's Eve went. We had a special New Year's Eve where we went downtown and saw some shows. So we're going to talk about that later. But first, I will talk about the sermons from this week. In the morning, we heard from Zach Reeves, who is a student, I believe, at Westminster in California, where Cliff is going. He's actually a classmate of Cliff's. And he is going to be an intern at our church, a year-long intern, starting this summer. So he was visiting for the holidays, and we got to hear him preach in the morning. And he preached on Luke chapter 12, verses 13 through 21, which is the parable of the man who built bigger barns for his crops. And it starts out with the context of why Jesus is preaching this parable. And it's because somebody from the crowd really demanded that Jesus tell his brother to split the inheritance with him. And Jesus's response is a little peculiar. He says, "Who made me a judge or arbitrator over you?" And the reason that's kind of peculiar is because, Jesus is the ruler of all things. Like he's the God of the universe. So why is he not the judge or arbitrator over this case? Like, why is he not judge over all things? But there's a few reasons. Zach quoted John Calvin giving a few reasons why Jesus is not the judge or arbitrator over this case. And the first one is that in this context, Jesus is guarding against the idea of an earthly kingdom. He does that many times in his ministry. He doesn't want the people to think that he has come to set up his kingdom on earth. The second reason is he is making a distinction between religious authority and political authority. This would have been more of a political matter, and Jesus is distinguishing that he is here to do more of a religious ministry than a political one. And lastly, Jesus recognizes that the man is not interested in the things of God. He is more interested in secular things. He wants his money. And so Jesus wants to teach him a lesson. He says to the crowd, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." So to illustrate that lesson, Jesus uses a parable, and the parable is of a wealthy man who had a very productive crop. And what Zach wanted to clarify and make clear is that the man's sin was not in his wealth. He actually gained his wealth by legitimate means. He had a fruitful crop, which God is the one who produces our crops. So God actually blessed him with this fruitful crop. And even the man's response of building bigger barns to house these crops it's a prudent response, and it's a relatable response. It's one that we can imagine a wise man doing. But the real issue is in the man's heart, and his heart is revealed in his statement where he says to his own soul, "Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry." So the issue is that this man is putting his faith in his wealth. Last week we talked about how faith means resting, and faith in Christ means resting on Christ. But this man is resting in his wealth, in his abundance of possessions. And Jesus wants his disciples to think differently. in an earlier passage, Jesus tells his disciples that following him is going to take self-denial, not self-reliance. There's also a bit of a connection to the passage in 1 Corinthians that we studied last week, where Jesus is talking about how those who live as though there is no resurrection, as though there is no afterlife, their motto is to eat, drink, and be merry. And that's exactly what this rich man says. But Paul says elsewhere that we are to eat and drink to the glory of God, not to our own glory. So the application, again, Zach wanted to remind us that the sin is not in having wealth. Jesus is not calling his disciples to poverty. And that's actually a lesson that I've learned over the years. I used to be kind of obsessed with this idea that Jesus was calling his disciples to poverty. It used to be a big conviction for me that I saw all these Christians that had a lot of wealth, and I thought that was going against what Jesus was teaching. But the verse, in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, that says, "The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil." We often twist that and think that it's saying that money is the root of all evil. But that's not what Jesus teaches. So the real application and the real takeaway is that our faith should be in Christ, and it should be in dependence on God's providence. So in the evening, Jonathan preached again. He preached on 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 1 through 24. And this is the final passage in 1 Corinthians where Paul kind of makes some final points and then talks about his plans to travel and see them, and he's talking about the greetings from the other churches and everything. But there's a deeper meaning in this passage that is actually really profound if you think about the context of the rest of the book. Paul has just been basically rebuking this church for all the things that they've been doing wrong and thinking wrongly and believing wrongly. And we would expect kind of the natural response would be to say, you guys have a lot of growing to do, you have a lot of learning to do, so maybe take a step back and just kind of get out of the way and let the more faithful churches do ministry while you guys kind of have some growing to do. But he doesn't do that. He actually encourages this church to get more involved in ministry. And that's just astounding to me, because I think we can feel that way when we fail, when we find ourselves, coming up short and not being equipped to serve God faithfully. We feel a fear and an apprehension. We feel paralyzed, and we feel like we don't deserve to serve, and we don't deserve to minister for God. But Paul is speaking against that. He's saying that he gives the Corinthians 4 ways in which they can serve. The first way is to give. So he talks about the collection, the tithes, and encourages the Corinthians to set aside money to give to the church and to the needs of the church. He also encourages them to support other ministers. So he says that he's sending Timothy their way, and he expects them to welcome Timothy and to be hospitable towards him, and just support him and support the ministry that he's coming to do. The third thing that they can do as a church is to stand, meaning, stand firm in the faith. He talks about how holiness is a part of ministry. It's probably the most important part of ministry. I mean, the devil wants us to be paralyzed with fear and to be ashamed of ourselves and to shrink back from ministry. But if we pursue holiness, that is what will equip us to be faithful to continue in ministry. And the final way that Paul encourages the Corinthians to serve, and us reading this to serve faithfully, is to love. A lot of this book was devoted to teaching the Corinthians about love. I mean, all of chapter 13 is about love. And Paul wants that lesson to be ringing in the reader's ears after they read this letter. So he gives many examples of love seen in other churches. He uses the example of Stephanas, talks about the greetings from the other believers, even points to his own love. Paul wants the Corinthians to know that he loves them, and he sends his greetings, and he wants to be with them. Most importantly, though, in verse 22, Paul highlights the importance of loving Jesus. In verse 22, he says, "If anyone has no love for the Lord, let him be accursed." Which is a scary thought, but it comes right before verse 23, which says, "The grace of the Lord Jesus be with you." So it's an encouragement to us to take a look at ourselves and to look at our love for Christ and how weak it can be and how little we love him compared to how much he loves us, but also to put our hope in the grace that he has to be with us and to sanctify us and equip us to do the work that he calls us to do. Welcome back to Hangin' Vibe. I'm here with good old Mike.
Hey guys.
We are having a campfire in the winter, the snowy backyard of Mike's house.
Some thick snowfall.
Oh yeah.
Coming down.
Yeah. We got the fire going. Hopefully it stays going and warms us up, keeps us dry.
We're doing winter right.
We are. Yeah. We went to New Year's Fest.
Sir.
Last week? Was it last week?
I guess it was.
Yes. You guys, you and your friend Ben, not the Ben who's been on the podcast, but another Ben, met me at Bronson Park at the Tuba New Year show. I brought Pilgrim with me because it was an outdoor show, so I was able to bring my doggo. Yeah, that was pretty good. What did you think of Tuba New Year?
I kind of liked it, but it wasn't my favorite. As far as the music scene went.
Yeah.
And at New Year's Fest, it was Lion Zion that took the cake. Yeah, Zion Lion, if you guys don't know, is a local reggae band. And they've spiced up their sound. I don't think they used to have a saxophonist, I think?
Ooh.
Yeah. Or
I wish I could have seen them. I had to take Grim home at that time, so.
No, he was a trumpet player. But yeah, the bass was rocking the whole church.
Nice.
There was somebody on the electric guitar in the back. Of course, the steel drums come in.
Oh yeah. Kind of a fun way to spend like the middle of winter. Mm-hmm. Just have some, island music playing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
What do you think of Crawl Space Evictions?
I kind of liked them.
Yeah,
but
they had a couple good bits.
Mm-hmm.
But it was improv, so it's like
you got to give them grace.
Yeah. You can only do so much with what you're given.
Yep.
I think the one part that really made me chuckle is when they were doing a scene where they're a choir and a delivery guy comes in and they're trying to get him to join the choir.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, say potato again. He's
right.
Like, potato. He's like, oh, did you hear those dulcet tones? The other person's like, say it again. So he goes, potato!
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep.
I just think and maybe there's only so many games you can play with improv, but they keep doing the same ones year after year. Yeah. And you basically elicit the same responses from them and from the people that they interact with.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, because they got to be like a family show, so they can't take any like extreme prompts or anything. Yeah. So you're getting prompts from the kids in the audience saying like potatoes and pickles and
stuff. And it's like, all right, now we got to do a whole show about pickles.
We didn't want to, but this is what we got.
Yep.
This is what's on our plate now.
Hey, on your plate.
Yeah.
We also saw Selkie, which was a Celtic band. I liked them. They were pretty cool.
I liked them enough.
They had some good instruments. I liked I liked the faster, more upbeat songs they played, especially like with the banjo and the flute. That was really cool. And I like the accordion a lot too. I like there was like a medium tempo song they played with like the banjo and the accordion.
It wasn't the typical Celtic sound I'm used to. I'm used to like, I don't know. I'm probably asking too much, but like an Irish accent and like.
Oh yeah.
Just like a more involved song. Theirs was just very low key.
Yeah, and it's partially because of the venue. I mean, they were playing in like a church basement, and the woman that did most of the talking, she mentioned that they're used to playing in pubs where like, you know, they've got a beer on stage and everyone in the audience has their beers and they're sitting at tables like, you know, whooping along and stuff. We did see a little bit of Gemini Moon, which was a duo playing like some kind of classic rock songs. I didn't recognize the songs that they played, but there was one song they played like right before we left that I thought sounded really cool. And I was trying to find it by Googling the lyrics, but I couldn't quite make out the lyrics, so I couldn't figure it out, but it was a good song.
Yeah, they were good.
Work in Progress.
Yeah, good call. Yep.
They were good.
They had everybody dancing. There was like line dances going on as we were leaving.
Oh, yeah.
I saw, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we were getting a beer and we were about to head out.
Yeah.
Just a fun way for people to commune together and celebrate the new year. Oh, and then we walk in, my buddy Steve. I'm like, somebody just like starts breakdancing and I see it on my peripheral and I was like, whoa, we gotta come over and see this dude. And I was like, oh, it's Steve.
Yeah.
Who has no shame and will dance in front of
he's
like hundreds. Yeah. Yep. When everyone's sitting, he'll just start dancing and like he's really talented. He's got a unique style.
Yeah.
But he's really good. He can do the robot, he can break dance.
He was teaching the little kids how to do
that too.
breakdance.
Yep.
That's cool. I liked some of the songs they played. One of them, I had to look it up because I didn't recognize it, but it's called Holding On by Gregory Porter.
Oh.
That one was really cool. It's like an R&B
nice
track. I love the way that sounded. And then the other song that I liked by them, you told me the title of it. It was Happy Feeling.
Yes. Did you like that one?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm a big fan of that. Frankie Beverly.
Yeah, that's just like, I don't know, like a staple. Kind of romantic but happy. Oh, and then we saw the Daredevil guy.
Oh yeah, Clark Lewis.
Yep.
The juggler.
He captivated the audience like no.
He was so impressive. I loved his acts. He was also kind of quirky.
Yeah, he was.
His personality.
Yeah. He was funny.
Yeah, he was pretty funny, but he was also like
dry.
He was kind of like awkward, but in a funny way.
Right, and he knew it.
He liked that. He was like enjoying being awkward.
Yeah.
He kept like doing like these awkward silences where you're just like staring at the audience. Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah,
Go
ahead.
ahead.
There was a lot of commentary in between stuff. Yep, which is funny.
Yeah, it was like we were hanging out. You know, he was just like there, just chilling out with everybody. I liked the glass ball part.
Yeah.
That like ball that he was like. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Labyrinth with David Bowie?
No.
Dude, you gotta check it out.
Yeah, I think you recommended it to me.
It's awesome. David Bowie plays this. He's the Goblin King. He's kind of like a mystical figure, and he does the same thing with like the glass ball, like waving it around in his hands and stuff. That's what it reminded me of.
I'll have to check that out.
Dude, the balancing act when he was on top of those things.
Yes, outrageously talented.
My heart was like racing when he was doing that.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's gonna fall on his face.
Break an ankle
or
two.
I don't know how he did that. That must have taken years of practice.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
He did it without telling his mom, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the sword swallowing.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a sword swallow?
I have. Have you?
I've not in person. This is the first time I've seen it like in person.
Okay.
It was kind of creepy, honestly. Like I zoomed in with my camera and like you can see the sword like in his throat.
Oh, like bulging.
Like bulging his throat out. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty creepy.
That is wild. The chair maneuver.
Oh yeah.
Was ridiculous.
Yep.
So I think he stacked like 12 chairs. It looked like a 14-point buck. Like all these like metal chairs stacked on each other.
Yeah.
The same ones you see in WWE.
Yep.
Which is funny because with his long hair, he actually did remind me of Jeff Hardy. You've ever seen the Hardy brothers wrestle? Yeah, Jeff Hardy's known for his bold acrobatics. Like he'll flip from the top of anything. And sometimes land on his back or stomach, just to kind of tackle somebody. Yeah, he balanced all of like 12 chairs or however it was. It was ridiculous on his chin.
Yeah.
And the weight of those have got to be.
No. Yeah. I mean, like when I'm like at church trying to put chairs away, I'm like grabbing 4 at a time, and I'm like.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah.
It had to be around like 80 pounds.
Jeez. Yeah. On his chin.
Maybe.
Chin of steel.
And the ball dropped, and I wish it just fell to the floor. I don't like the slow release.
It is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like watching a ball drop because it's just like slow motion.
Right.
Like, ooh, this is exciting. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to spend New Year's with you guys.
Yeah, it was.
Get pumped at midnight. See some fireworks.
Yeah. It's interesting. They switched the fireworks spot. It used to be right above like Bronson Park.
Yeah, I remember when we went in 2018. It was like it felt like there were fireworks all around us, but this time it was just like in one kind of far off spot.
Yeah.
Do you mind if you don't mind? Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah. So one thing I've been recognizing is my memory hasn't been as sharp, and I guess running can help aid that.
Really?
Yeah. So I want to, and just aerobic exercise in general. So I want to.
Let's do a half.
Dude, I'm down.
Hey.
Like, I was talking to somebody who was thinking about triathlon. I think it was Chris Peters.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll have to follow up with him. But yeah, so I want to get more serious about that. And just like, I want to pick up a new hobby. I'm not quite sure what, but...
Have you still been practicing the guitar?
I have been. And that reminds me that learning how to string pick.
Oh, okay.
Or that's what it's called, right?
Like fingering?
Yeah, finger picking. Yeah, I want to learn finger picking.
Cool. I love finger picking on the guitar.
Yeah, because I think that's a good skill. Because I've kind of plateaued in the sense that I'm learning the same basic chords. Not as well as I'd like, but I feel like I'm not really getting any better. So, yeah, I want to mix it up and do some finger picking. Okay. And just get out of my comfort zone with stuff like that. Yeah. I am proud that I think I did read about 12 books last year, which was my goal, like one a month.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'd like to keep up with that.
Yeah.
Those are the biggest ones. Okay. How about you?
One of my big ones is to start doing more house projects, doing more house maintenance stuff. So I've kind of, I've lived in my house for 5 years and I haven't really done anything. I've just kind of let things go. So there's a lot of projects that I need to get around to. I did one. Actually, I did two. But the big one was that I replaced a light fixture in my basement that went out like the first couple years I lived there.
Nice.
And I've just been using like a like Velcro motion sensing light to kind of see my way in the laundry room. But I went to Lowe's, picked up a new light fixture, and watched a YouTube video on how to do it, and finally got it fixed. Cool. Feels good.
Was it tricky with the electronics of it?
The trickiest part was figuring out which breaker to turn off to shut off the power to the light.
Yeah.
Because like, I bought a little voltage detector to detect whether it had voltage running through it or not. And I was like turning everything off in the house, and like finally figured out the one. It was like the one that was labeled living room. It was like, why would you think the living room would go to the basement? But that was the one that turned it off. So after that, it was pretty easy. I just had to, strip the wires. And, so I'm glad I did that. And then I also put up a shelf in our bathroom that my sister bought. That I just had to buy a power drill. That was pretty expensive, but I'll be able to use it for other projects too. So, and then another one that's maybe a little bit personal, but I don't mind sharing it. Last year, I made a resolution to go on at least one date, because I've kind of, I haven't really been in a relationship since 2021, and kind of lost interest a little bit and become a little bit cynical and pessimistic. But last year, I was like, I gotta try to go on at least one date, and I did. So I fulfilled that resolution.
That's right.
But this year, I think I want to go on at least one, maybe more. Just try to be a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more hopeful. Yeah, see where it goes. Yeah, that's me for this year. And I guess continue with this podcast. I want to get at least a year's worth of episodes under my belt.
You're close, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, it started at the end of spring, so just got to get through winter and then through spring, and then see what I'll do after that. I feel like I've exhausted like all the main artists I listen to, but maybe in the second year of the podcast I'll do like maybe just one artist an episode or something.
And I could get some more local musicians on.
Hey,
like Chris Peters, I think would want to come participate. My buddy Ryan Swank, who's a phenomenal pianist, I think he just moved to Indianapolis, but he was really involved with Calvary Christmas, or the whole music production.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we have a few artists to talk about. I've chosen Grizzly Bear for my first one, which is a mutual jam of ours.
So,
and I picked 10 songs that I want to talk about. Keep it brief. First one is called Sleeping Ute from the album Shields, which is definitely one of my favorites. I love the guitar riff in the intro, and I actually used this as my alarm to wake up to for a while, and I still do sometimes. It's just, I don't know, it has that sort of good morning sound. So it starts out with the cool guitar riff, and then it cuts out after the intro, after the first verse section, and then it comes back with this cool like bubbling synth. It's like, the
yeah, kind of shimmering.
Yeah. I love the vibe of that. And it goes through the song, and then at the end it kind of cuts to this quiet solo acoustic guitar part. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, where the tempo of the song slows down.
Yeah. And he kind of has a different vocal melody, but then the the line, I can't help myself, that comes back at like the very end. Myself, and I can't help myself. Oh, I should have mentioned, Grizzly Bear is a 4-piece band. The frontmen are Daniel Rossen and Edward Drost. Although I think Edward Drost has left the band now. Or, yeah, I think he became a therapist, I read on Wikipedia. But then the other two are, I didn't write it down, but I think one of them's like Chris Taylor or something Taylor. And then Chris Bear is the fourth member.
Oh, and I was going to mention Sleeping Ute to me is, it's like a raucous storm. It's like I don't know. That's what I imagine, like a good lightning and thunderstorm.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
I can see that.
Yeah, the way the sound kind of like crashes and it's kind of almost chaotic a bit.
Yep, it's a jam.
Yeah, it's like you're driving through. It's like the wind and the rain, thunder and lightning. Just trying to get home.
Yep. Then the next one is Speak in Rounds from the same album, and this one's got this lovely vocal melody in the verse section, some nice guitar strumming, and then it has a cool upbeat, like fast-paced chorus. Step back just once, I'll be alone. And then it goes back to sort of the verse section. In the second verse section, I really like the echoey, atmospheric elements in the background that, I don't know, just kind of give me like Chords of Canada vibes a little bit. I like when they use like synth elements in their music. Just you belong. Take it as it is. Oh, and then another one from this album is called Sun in Your Eyes. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I love that one.
It's a bit of a long one, and it starts out really quiet. It starts out with like some nice gentle piano, but then the chorus, it really picks up, and it has this really powerful sounding chorus with some awesome like low pitched horns. I love brass. I love brass music, and this has some really good brass elements in it. There's also like a quiet bridge section that has some cool brass as well. I like the part at the end of the bridge when the bass line kicks back in, and it's like distorted bass that sounds really cool. So long, I'll never turn you back. They have B-sides to this album, and that has a lot of good songs. I know Taken Down is one that you told me that you like, and I really like that one too. It's just a beautiful guitar piece. It has like a really passionate sounding vocal melody, and the second verse section has some just excellent vocal harmony as well, and some more low brass that I like. You're a little late, I'm a little tired, we've been doing this for a while, totally agree.
I really like the flute in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and just the way the melody's constructed. It's like, it's very light, and it's, I don't know, it sounds weird, but I picture like a ballerina dancing to it. Yeah, just like da 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 da.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I always picture this song like you're going on a journey or something. Like you're packing up and like leaving home or something.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, it just sounds sounds like a traveling song to me. Then Listen and Wait is another B-side from that album. This one has some kind of eerie vibes. Have you heard this one? Listen and Wait. It's got
probably have.
My favorite part of this song is that there's a part when he says the line, blindsided by the sin. I think that's what he says. And when he says that line, there's this like low, droning, like woodwind note that just makes it sound really epic. Yeah, and then the last one from that album, the B-sides that I like, is called Will Calls. And this one's got a beautiful vocal melody. It's kind of has two different sections to it. It starts out soft and slow. And then the chorus gets really like upbeat and more passionate sounding. It's like a more fast-paced, upbeat chorus. And then in the outro, there's some nice smooth saxophone I really like. And then some songs from their, I think, more recent album, Painted Ruins. It's not that recent. They haven't made a lot of music in a long time. I don't even know if they're still active. But their most recent album, I think, is Painted Ruins. And I like the song Wasted Acres from that one. I like the chorus of this one. It's got some nice bass playing. Were you even listening? Were you riding with me? I like also there's a part with like some low-pitched vocals when he says line, "Why would you stay here?" It's like, "Why would you stay here?" Were you even listening? Were you riding with me? And yeah, there's just some cool guitar in the outro as well. Another one from that album I like is called Glass Hillside, and this one's also kind of spooky sounding to me. It's got like a suspenseful verse section. Until the feast of night. And then I love the chorus. I like the keys, the key melody in the chorus and the guitar, and just great vocals too. Especially there's like some eerie background vocals. Just gives it a real cool vibe. Fears that make us grow. And then the last one from that album is called Sky Took Hold. And this one's got like another quiet verse section and then a more upbeat chorus. Some like interesting sounding guitar. It's got kind of a loud guitar melody in this one. It's like kind of distorted sounding, but it sounds really cool. And then the outro, it has some more like synth elements that kind of give me Ports of Canada vibes. The last one I want to talk about by Grizzly Bear is actually a Spotify exclusive. Have you heard the song "Easy to Be Around"?
No.
It's only on Spotify.
Wow.
I couldn't even find it on YouTube.
That's insane.
So, but this one's really cool. It's got some lovely vocal harmonies, great acoustic guitar. The highlight of this track is like at the end when the electric guitar riff comes in. I love the guitar riff in that track.
Visions trying to make sense of a now.
Jose Iglesias.
Jose.
Whoops. Gonzalez.
Gabriel Iglesias?
Yeah. Jose Iglesias, he's a former Detroit Tiger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's still in the league. But.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll start with Visions. Yeah, you're familiar with that
That's
one?
a pretty new one, right?
Let's see. 2021, yeah. So I think relatively for him. Because he's been in the music scene for a long time, right?
Yeah, I guess he has, since the early 2000s, mid-2000s.
Yeah. Visions is interesting because, I mean, it's this typical, very, like, somber, slow sound, but they have some, like, birds in the background that it's interesting because this is supposed to be winter music, but yeah, here there's some birds, so it definitely is more reminiscent of spring.
Yeah, that's okay. A lot of these artists, I feel like I could listen to in like fall, winter, spring. I feel like fall, winter, and spring tend to blend together to me. It's usually summer is when I get more specific.
True. Yeah.
We are patiently itching away toward unreachable utopias.
I like what Think of the Ghost as well. I'm pretty sure that you showed me like most of these songs.
Might have. It's got some good harmonies in it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, especially this song, his vocals kind of sound like they're breaking the speakers, kind of.
Oh, really?
As if it's kind of like recorded from like the '60s or something.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
yeah, if you listen, it's kind of. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Maybe.
Yeah, or maybe it's just how bad my phone's playing this song.
Surface from the dark to realize how in a vast field she runs.
I also like the stories we build, stories we tell.
Oh yeah, I feel like I remember that song.
Yeah, again, most of these are probably from you. I wish I could remember. Yeah, they got like a constant like hand clap beat, which is kind of neat. Yeah, and then there's some neat little guitar licks that he has in there.
Don't believe in color or head.
What Will?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a little faster paced for him.
I like when he says the line. Especially the Bright Lights version. He did a version with another band called the Bright Lights, and when he says that line, there's like some background vocals that kind of echo in the background that sound really cool.
Vestiges and claws fight for a common cause.
But I was also looking up Walter Mitty, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple songs in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I discovered Jose Gonzalez and another
funny.
artist we're going to talk about. Junip. The movie The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, he did the soundtrack, or at least he did a few songs on the soundtrack. There's one song on the soundtrack that just really astounds me. And it has actual vocals by Jose Gonzalez, and it sounds really cool. I'll have to figure out the title later. Oh, I can't pronounce it, but it's the song Efya Yalako Joko.
What?
Track 18.
Oh, this is all.
I think that's it. It's one of the original score songs, and it has vocals by Jose Gonzalez. It sounds really cool. And if you haven't seen the movie, you should check it out.
True.
It's a really good movie.
Yes. Quintessence is the word of the movie.
Quintessence?
Yeah. You remember
I
that?
don't remember that.
It's like they say it a couple times.
Oh, okay.
It means the most perfect or typical example of equality or class. He was the quintessence of political profession.
I like a lot of songs by Jose Gonzalez. Crosses, I think, is one of his more well-known ones. And it's just got some nice guitar and some nice vocal melodies in it.
Catch some light and be alright for now.
And Dead Weight on Velveteen is a good one. Yeah, it's got a cool intro. It's kind of has a slow build-up where it's like a strum and then some like quiet little guitar and then another strum and then some quiet guitar. and then it kind of builds up with some little guitar picking and stuff. Two songs in particular that I do want to talk about are some collaborations he did with an artist called 07. One of them is called Futures.
Just let me know where we go after the fall.
Another one by that duo is Last Light, and this one's got some like synth elements in it, and it just sounds really really peaceful and really like wintry, I feel like. So Daniel Rossen from Grizzly Bear has some solo music as well, and I want to talk about some of his solo songs. From the album Silent Hour, Golden Mile, I like the song Up on High. It's got a nice guitar riff and some nice bass, some awesome strings in some parts as well.
Grinding your teeth.
I love the vocals in this one. There's a little guitar / string melody in the middle that I just think sounds excellent. Next one from this album is called Silent Song. It's a nice like upbeat kind of folksy acoustic guitar sound. And then there's just also some awesome guitar in the bridge. Return to Form is a good one from this album. It's got some excellent like guitar fingering, and I like the sort of 2-note lick at the end of each measure that is played like in the violin.
Calling what you want.
I love the sort of mysterious sounding chord progression in the chorus.
Light up the fire again. Burn more.
And about halfway through the song, there's this awesome switch up with like an awesome drum beat and some nice bass and like a kind of heavy sounding breakdown. And then just some nice woodwind and brass in the outro. And then the song Saint Nothing is really good. It's like a lovely piano piece. With also some beautiful brass in some parts.
Leave the throne.
And then Golden Mile is another great one from this album. Just some upbeat guitar strumming and some fun guitar in the middle. There's a single by this artist called Deer Slayer. It's pretty cool. It's got some nice piano in the verses and a heavy chorus with some nice guitar. I especially like the second time the chorus plays. Sounds pretty heavy. And And after the chorus, I love the guitar / trumpet riff that comes in. And then a couple songs from his album You Belong There. I like the first song, It's a Passage. And this one has a really long intro with some really cool guitar riffs. There's two sort of different guitar riffs that have some slightly different notes, a slightly different melody. And one version sounds pretty cool, and then the other version also sounds pretty cool. But then it transitions into the rest of the song with like a fast tempo that kind of has like this fast strumming, and then the beat kicks in and it leads to like a slower tempo for the rest of the song. And there's just a nice guitar riff and some nice drums.
I really like this one.
Yeah,
it's very classical.
I had to give it like some time to get into it, because when I first listened to it, I was like, this is slow, and like there's not much going on. But then when you get to the halfway point of the song and the vocals and the drums come in, it's like it's a great song.
Oh yeah.
And the last one is called The Last One. It's got a cool guitar riff and some lovely vocals. That's all I really have to say about it. But yeah, Daniel Rossen is a really talented musician.
He's the man.
He's a talented multi-instrumentalist.
What manic state?
Blinking lights are guiding you away.
All right, so I highlighted Junip for my last one. That reminds me of winter. Start with It's All Right. It's off the
Love that song.
off the Fields album. Obviously inspired by Gonzalez, who is in the band.
Yep.
And the lead singer. And sure, he's playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vocals too.
yep. But because it's a band, there's a little more going on slightly in the sound of the music.
I like the guitar in this one. The little guitar, like the do 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 do.
Yep.
Blinking lights are guiding you away.
And like the pitter pattern of the I don't know if that's a piano or like a keyboard, or I don't know. It almost kind of sounds like a.
It's got like some kind of wintry vibes. I feel like with that little piano.
Yep.
High pitched kind of tinkling.
Yep. Tinkling. Yeah. that's good.
Twinkling is maybe the word I'm looking
True,
for.
not tinkling.
It's alright. It's alright.
Moving on, Don't Let It Pass is also another good one.
That one is in Secret Life of Walter.
Okay.
Yeah. When he's playing soccer with some like vocals. I like the sort of sentiment of the lyrics in this one. It's talking about like, be spontaneous, like live in the moment.
Yeah.
Don't let the moment pass. Kind of like we're doing right now.
Right. Yeah. We
Got a nice snow going. And just like, let's do a fire.
Yeah. So glad we did.
I know, me too.
But I also like the wah wah effect of that instrument that shows up in the middle of the song too. Also on their eponymous album called Junip, it's Line of Fire is a good one.
Yep.
I think that's the most popular one actually.
Might be.
Oh, it's up there as far as popularity goes. I think I just added that one yesterday, so I'm not as familiar. Beginnings is also a terrific one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love Beginnings. Yeah, it's kind of a slow build up.
Yeah, it does.
With just like some quiet strumming and some quiet drums.
Yep.
And then like the synth comes in, it's like,
Yeah.
and the chorus is just beautiful.
And then my last one is Far Away. And this was also on Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And it's got like a nice little build up, like faster paced guitar. Oh, and then also in the lyrics says cold wind blows into the skin. So if that doesn't scream winter, I don't know what does.
Yeah, right.
Cold wind blows into the skin. Can't believe the state you're in.
Yeah. From Fields, have you heard the song Rope and Summit?
No.
It's a more fast-paced one. Definitely kind of sounds adventure-y to me. I mean, the lyrics, especially, talking about, you got a summit that you want to climb, you got a rope. And it's like, just going on an adventure, climbing a mountain or something.
Got a rope and summit. We got a rope and summit. But we need to wake up. Baby, wake
Then I also want to throw in their Head First from their self-titled album. I just love this one. I love the vocal melodies in this one.
You picked me up from my maze and showed me the whole world up from the clouds.
Yeah, Head First is a great song. And now Mike is going to kill me.
We didn't start the fight.
I do want to throw in a bonus track because when I was looking these up on YouTube, in the comments section of the song Futures by 07 and Jose Gonzalez, somebody commented that it reminded them of the song Guinevere by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Do you know that one?
I just started listening to that one. And not because you shared it.
Oh,
but because it was on this winter playlist I was checking out on
really?
Apple Music to get more
That's
familiar
fitting.
with what winter songs are sound like.
Yeah, this one's pretty good. And I do see the similarities to like Jose Gonzalez. It has like some really good, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, not Nash. They do really well with like harmonies and like vocal harmony and stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty beautiful sounding track.
Guinevere drew pentagrams.
Any bonus things you want to throw in that you've been listening to lately?
Not really. I've kind of been a little bit out of touch with the music. Mostly just listening to Christmas music for one, and two, I think I think my passion for music has kind of waned a bit right now.
Dang.
Yeah. Probably the wrong thing to say in this podcast.
That's okay. I'll edit that out.
Yeah.
Redacted.
Right, censor me. But it's interesting too because in the month of December I always follow the new alternative playlist that puts out new music that's going around the industry and the alternative world. And even that playlist has been pretty dry. They're like every week, sometimes. Well, I think last week or 2 weeks ago there was nothing. Nothing new that came out. So it is a bummer, but I'm happy that people are taking time off for Christmas. And yeah, I think that's important to do.
Yeah.
I will mention though, I've been listening to Together with Cliff Richard. It's a Christmas album from 1991. And despite it being the 90s, don't be fooled, there's a lot of 80s influence in the album, and it's it's a good listen. They had the typical saxophone introduced in some of the songs, and there's a song called Christmas Alphabet, and he's just going through each letter and saying like C is for candy trimmed around the Christmas tree, H is for happiness with all the family, R is for the reindeer. So he's going through Christmas as an acronym and spelling it out.
Oh, the word Christmas.
Yeah, the word Christmas, I should say.
See.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's just like got a fun little twist to it with the saxophone and like the danceable beat.
Capital C is for the candy trimmed around the Christmas Christmas tree. Anxious for the happy
And the album cover is hilarious. He's like close-eyed, beaming, cheesing like no other, like
That's
head
great.
pointing to the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the joy of Christmas.
But I heard the song "Mistletoe and Wine" when I was skiing a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I had to Shazam it, and that one's got that like slow '80s drum kit going, and like sleigh bells you can hear.
Gotta have those sleigh bells.
Yep. And then the middle of the song, he just starts like singing la 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 la, but like falsetto, and it's like, but it works. Yeah, it's a really good listen.
Sweet.
I'll check that out. Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that wraps it up for this episode. Thank you all for listening and for joining us this new year. And hope everybody has a great 2025 and listen to plenty of music this year. And yeah, check out the Spotify playlist in the description if you want to hear the artists that we recommended. And stay tuned for the next one. And until then, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Bye.
See ya.